Hello, everyone. My name is Ron Friedman. I'm a science fiction writer and an IT professional. Welcome to Sci and Sci-Fi. Tan, tan, tan. The motto of this channel is connecting the public to science and technology through science fiction storytelling. What does it mean? I'm going to talk about the synergy between science fiction and science and technology. On many cases, science fiction writers are inspired by the latest technology that has been invented or an article in a scientific magazine. Oh, that's a cool idea. Let's write a story about that. But on many cases, it's the other way around. Science fiction, especially near future or far future stories, are predicting trends or predicting new technology that actually inspire scientists and engineers to go into school and study and invent the same things they see on this channel, on, on the story. The topic we are going to talk about today is why are we spending so much money on space where there are so many things right here on Earth to fix? Other variants of the same question: why billionaires want to flee Earth to space instead of fixing Earth? Or why do we spend on space instead of cure cancer or fix the environment? I saw this question coming a lot of time on a blog that I'm writing, and this is a topic that a lot of people actually have concern. So we are going to discuss this issue here, and if it's really an issue, and do we really want to spend so much money on space? Maybe a little bit less, maybe more. But before we start, I'm going to show you a clip, the opening scenes from the movie Elysium from 2013, and just the beginning, the first minute and a half, with all the drama. Enjoy it. Well, I hope you enjoyed the movie. If you haven't watched Elysium yet, go see it. I really enjoy watching it. It's with Matt Damon and Jodie Foster. What's going on in the movie is talking about is a separation, a divide between the ultra rich and the masses of the people. Most of the people are poor. According to the story, the Earth is being almost destroyed from environment issue and different topic toxicity, and there is the poor who stay on Earth are in really bad condition. They don't have a lot. Their socioeconomic status is really poor, and the ultra rich, the really rich people, they build a space station around in orbit around Earth, and that's where they spend their life in luxury. And it's impossible or almost impossible to come from Earth to the space station unless you are really, really ultra rich. Now, this story has some truth in it. A lot of people predict that in the future there is going to be a bigger gap, even bigger than today, between the very rich and the very poor. And so this is a cautionary story, an alarm story. It's not necessarily something that comes into existence, but we do want to be concerned about. I'm actually in the book I'm writing right now, I'm talking about a similar topic, a big divide between the ultra rich and the poor that cause conflict. The issue I do have with the movie is that they are blaming Earth as Earth is going to be destroyed, there's nothing to be done, or the rich don't care about Earth, and they just want to flee Earth. The whole idea of space exploration, when we want to go to space, has nothing to do with trying not to protect Earth. We do want to protect Earth, but there is a lot of other advantages, perhaps even things that could help Earth by going into space. So I'm again, according to the movie, I still think there is going to be a divide, or hopefully not, but there is a good chance there will be a divide between ultra rich and ultra poor. Uh, the issue I have is with why pick on space. Why do we don't want to spend money on space to fix the issues? Okay, so next thing I'm going to see if I can bring up the slides, share my screen. Okay. Are we spending too much money on space? The global domestic product, the GDP of the entire world, is just over $80 trillion. NASA, the entire NASA budget is just above 20 billion, I think 21 or maybe a bit more. That's about a quarter of 0.1% of the global GDP, a really tiny bit. Now, if you take into account also other space agency like the European Space Agency, Russia, China, other countries, all of them are smaller agency than NASA, the Canadian Space Agency. I'm from Canada. Uh, let's and also include dump into this whatever private individuals are spending or wasting in not wasting spending on space exploration or building capacity to explore space and go into space. We are talking about perhaps something like 0.1% of the global GDP. That's not a lot. And the question I have for those who say we shouldn't spend any money on spend because there are so many issues on Earth is, what can't you fix with 99.99% of the global GDP that you can fix with 100%? I mean, what we spend on space is really not meant much. But is it useful? Let's start with survival. So this is maybe a little bit Earth could be doomed, and there is a chance Earth will be doomed, but that's not the main reason why you want to go to space, but it is a reason. Like the existential event that going to cause the extinction of all humanity is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It could be a meteor like the one that kills all the dinosaurs, or it could be something else. Even if we manage to go through all the hurdle in about 5 billion years, the sun is going to expand into a red giant and swallow Earth, but maybe in 600 million or 800 million, Earth will already be uninhabitable. But I know that some scientists, some experts concluded, especially due to new disruptive technologies, there is a chance, actually a pretty high chance, some in Oxford in 2008, they calculated it should be at around 90%, that humanity will not survive beyond the year 2100. So that's less than 100 years from now, 19%. So there is still more than 80% will be around. But the strategy of putting all your eggs in one basket is not so smart. Now, there are different reasons why we may be extinct. The one that the scientists and the experts think are the highest risks are things like artificial intelligence going rogue, something that I can maybe do a presentation at some other time. Nanotechnology, militarized nanotechnology, nuclear war. Yeah, all nuclear war, it's still an issue. Climate change, that's going to cause a catastrophe, maybe not extinction, but it could be very bad. But if you're running something within your computer and you want to do a backup to your drive, you don't want to lose the data if something happened to your drive. So do you always want to have a backup of it in some other place? So if we have a space colonies in Mars and Titan, in Venus, in the asteroid belt, like spinning space station, and a catastrophe that we don't want to happen and they do try to avoid happen, humanity is not becoming extinct. We will still be around. We may be able to recover and maybe repopulate Earth. But that's very negative idea. There are some positive idea why we want to explore space, explore safe or colonize space. One of them is resources. This asteroid, 16 Psyche, that's the name of the asteroid, it's thought to be worth, have all kind of material like gold and uranium and precious metal and different precious metal. And it's calculated that if you can refine and sell all these metals and all this material that in this asteroid, it would be worth $15.8 quadrillion. That's 15.8 followed by 17 zeros. That's quite a big number. Other than that, We may have energy crisis on Earth, not enough raw materials, so space have nearly infinite material, nearly infinite energy, rocket fuel. A lot of the things that are going, if we start to explore space, a lot of the things that going to be very expensive, I think that we need to bring from Earth to space, things like water or air. So, but those things exist on the moon. Those water exists on the asteroid belt, in the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. So there is a lot of raw materials, much, much, much more abundant than and more energy and space than right here on Earth. And if we have access to all this material, it will be better than not having access. All we need to do now is make sure the technology is cheap enough. Other advantages of going to space: help the environment. We want to move polluting industry, those who cause damage to the environment, to space, where they are not causing damage to the environment. That's helping Earth. So you see, we are not trying to destroy Earth, we're trying to help Earth. Weather satellites. Have you asked any climate scientists how effective will combating global warming be if there are no weather satellites? Spin-off technologies. This is a huge topic I'm unable to cover in this video, perhaps in some other video, but I left here a link that you can go to NASA Spinoff Technology site, and there's just nearly endless list of things that were developed in order to help the space program and then used by people right here on Earth, like medical treatment, safety equipment. The picture I chose to put here is GPS, something we have on our mobile phone and in almost any new car that help us navigate. Well, you can't do that without satellites, which happens to be in space. Inspiration. During the Apollo program, people were inspired. This was really an amazing event that really was, everybody wanted to be involved in it. This is something like a phrase that was very popular in the late 1960s, 1970s. If we could go to the moon, we could XYZ. It's a can-do attitude. We can do everything. We did then something that was nearly impossible. Now we can do almost anything else. What happened, right, if you can see on the graph, right after the moon, maybe I can move the mouse here, right after the moon landing, you see that a lot of more people want to go to STEM studies. A lot more doctor, physical, going to study physics, engineering, math, PhD, medical science. There was a huge wave. This is where the Apollo program started. This is where the moon landing occurred. So you see this curve here. There was a big push upward. A lot of kids, young people were very excited about the moon program. They enroll into university, and that's pushed the economy. I would say just this excitement that that encourage young people to study STEM, this by itself will cover whatever expense we have on the space program. That's what brought us the internet revolution, the cell phone. It's people who study after the Apollo program, and some of them were inspired by it. And this video come to an end. Of course, there is a lot of stuff we could continue, but if you like it, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. That could help the YouTube algorithm to find me. And I'm going to put some links the comment below, like where is my blog, where you can find my books, again, where you can look into NASA spin-off technologies. I will talk a little bit about the movie Elysium and where it is on IMDb. And I hope you enjoyed the movie. So thank you very much, and see you on the next movie, which will come soon.